The following depicts the responsible usage of firearms in a controlled environment by trained and competent individuals. Exercise your brains while exercising your rights. Welcome everyone. Today we're going to look at the venerable M1 Garand, both through a historical context and also through practical shooting impressions. Now, in addition to its notable history, the M1 has a special place in my heart because my dad bought me a Garand before I even got a Red Ryder as a kid. And I also had the privilege of working on a lot of the rifles used for honor guard by the American Legion and the VFW and things of that nature. So I've gotten to see a number of the different manufacturers and dates and all of these kind of things. Now, it was developed by M1 Garand, and let's get this out of the way because I know it will be a point of contention if we don't. The appropriate pronunciation, due to all my research, is actually Garand, but it's been Garand for me for so long that it's going to remain so. So it was the standard American service rifle from 1936 to 1957. Springfield, Winchester, International Harvester, and Harrington and Richards churned out many of the 4,040,000 production rifles. The M1 served with distinction throughout World War II, replacing the .03 Springfield and besting the predominant bolt actions of other nations. None other than George S. Patton referred to the Garand as the greatest battle implement ever devised. It's a gas-operated, semi-automatic rifle fed by an 8-round in-block clip, which is the reason for that iconic ping upon the last round bolt hold-open. It fired the venerable 30-06 cartridge with an effective range of just over 400 meters and a maximum range of about 3,200 meters. Now, following service in World War II, the M1 continued to soldier on as the standard U.S. arm in Korea and then with some of the ARVN forces in Vietnam. Surplus Garands have been supplied to many other nations, and there are even photos of occasional M1s being found amongst enemy weapons caches in Iraq and Afghanistan today. Though the M14 would follow, to many the M1 is the end of an era. Hand-rubbed walnut and parkerized steel. Not long after the M1's predecessors, such as the M14 and the BM59, would come new arms boasting intermediate calibers, space-aged materials, and select fire capabilities that would ultimately be dubbed assault rifles. And I wanted to note too, my grandfather, who carried an M1 carbine across the Rhine through Belgium into Germany in World War II, had to use the M1 in training. And of course the M1's heavier, but of course it's the M1, right? So I remember him saying to me often that, he wished it had been reversed, that he'd had the carbine in training because it was light, and it would have been easier to do all that stuff with a lighter weapon. And then he wished he'd had the M1 when he actually got in theater. Now let's talk about shooting impressions. To me, the greatest merit of the Garand is its legacy. Shooting the M1 invokes a minuscule yet profound glimpse of what those brave men must have endured in the hedgerows of Normandy and on the beaches of Tarawa and Peleliu. Though it packs a bit of a wallop, it's certainly manageable in experienced hands. Likewise, it's proficient in the accuracy department, as evidenced not only by my range time, but by the many veterans who qualified with the arm, and the many competitors who still trust their titles to accurized Garands. Without taking away from its poignant historical footprint and role in the advance of arms development, the M1 is lacking a bit in practicality given the weapon systems that have come since. As much as I love this weapon, I have to admit its weight, limited capacity, are drawbacks that cannot be ignored. My example, a Winchester with a World War II dated receiver reworked for Korea, has been nothing but dependable. The occasional stoppage has occurred, but each turned out to be the result of poor ammunition. It's surprisingly quick shooting and manageable offhand, and reloads can be accomplished with relative ease as long as you mind your thumb. The sights were excellent for the period and remain plenty serviceable. Overall, a day in the field with the M1 is never a disappointment. There's just something about taking a break from optics, rails, magnets, and picking up a piece of handcrafted history. Thus, the Garand is an enduring symbol of ingenuity and freedom. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope it was informative and brings about an appreciation that maybe you didn't have before. So I hope y'all will join me next time. Please take a moment to like and subscribe, and y'all have a great day and God bless. Bye-bye.